Hey everybody, Sean with Carpet Cleaner Training here. Today we're going to show you a job that we're working on. It's not a big job. It's a 2-room and a hallway carpet cleaning. So I'll show you exactly how to clean a carpet properly. So let's get to it. So we've got this big living room here, and the main thing they're concerned about is these areas around where their furniture was sitting. So you can see the heavy traffic lanes there in front of where the couches went, and a little end table here. So they're concerned about those. They're getting new furniture, it's not going to match up, so they want to make sure that those look presentable. And then we've got one smaller room over here, just kind of sitting room, TV room. It's only about 100 square feet. Same deal here. Sorry about the lighting here. Lighting is terrible here. So a little floor mat there, but those areas there we're going to take care of for them. And then we have the hallway over here. So you can see they got the traffic pattern there, and down through into there, into there. Now we're not doing any of the bedrooms, but we want to make sure when you clean a carpet like this that you ask your customer, may I go into those rooms a little bit? You want to go in 3 or 4 feet into the room just to make sure that we're blending that area out. We don't want to end up with a clean hallway and a dirty room. So we want to make sure we blend that area out, and I'll show you exactly how you achieve that kind of blending. So the first step is vacuuming. Of course, you want to make sure you vacuum every single job. I don't care if your customer said, oh, I already vacuumed, or the maids were here yesterday and they vacuumed. You make sure that you vacuum. You don't know how well your customers vacuum. You don't know how well the customer's vacuum works. You don't know if the maids did a good job. Make sure you do the job. Even if they say they already did it, just say, that's okay, I'm going to vacuum anyway. It's included in every job we do. So make sure that you do that. So let's get started doing that. So vacuuming is not that difficult. So everybody's vacuumed, everybody's run a vacuum. Just some detail work that you want to make sure that if you have something like this, where, yeah, I can reach it here and I can get all the way to that front edge, your vacuum is really not getting that front edge. You want to make sure that your vacuum that has a hose attachment, just do that. All your edges, anywhere where you see a little bit of dust, make sure that you get that. And then as this is here, make sure you're getting both sides, because there's filtration soil is going to build up right there on the edge. Now this one, I can get all the way in just because of the way the window is built, but you want to make sure that you get everywhere, every corner, get in there and do the best job that you can vacuuming. This is that first step. The goal here is to remove every bit of dry soil that you can. Dry soil, when it gets wet, is going to turn to mud. So you want to make sure that you're not creating mud in your customer's carpet. Get it clean. Get as much dry soil out as you can. Make sure you vacuum absolutely everywhere where you're going to clean, regardless of if it looks clean or not. And in here where you have the main traffic lane, slow it down. Make sure you're getting as much as you possibly can out of that. This is going to achieve a better job for you. Plus, your customer's going to see this. They know that the last 10 cleaners haven't vacuumed their carpet, and you have. So it's going to set yourself apart. This is part of getting better prices as well for your cleaning. So if you are doing more than everybody else is doing, they're going to understand that that's worth more. Your value is more now because you've done more, you've achieved more in your cleaning than that previous person has. It builds rapport. It gives you a higher standing in the customer's mind. This guy does a better job than the last 10 cleaners I've had in here. So I'm not only going to have him back, I'm willing to pay him more. So I'm going to finish this vacuuming up, and I'll get back to you in the next step. One tip here, when you're vacuuming your carpet, before you start vacuuming, one thing that I like to do is actually turn my machine on prior. And what that does is it gives, as you're vacuuming, it gives that chance to heat up, get your water nice and hot, so when you do start your job, you're not waiting for your machine to get hot. Now, of course, that's for a truck mount. If you're using a portable, you're going to put hot water into the machine from the start. But I always start my machine prior to vacuuming. That way I'm going to go to my machine now. It's going to be just toasty hot, ready to mix my cleaning products in some hot water and start spraying. So just wanted to let you know on that tip. So now this is the cleaner that I use on most jobs, if not even 99% of cleaning jobs I do for carpet, and a lot of upholstery as well. So it's a Clean Right is the brand, and Cleanse is the product name. Now this bucket runs me typically about $180 is retail on that product if you order it from, say, John Don or your local supplier. I get a little better deal because I order a bunch of it from my local supplier. But it's a great product. You can get any number of these products. There's enzyme product. This is an enzyme product, so you can get any number of enzyme products that are going to work fantastic. You don't have to use this one, and you don't even have to use an enzyme product. I like enzymes because then it covers me when I do have a house that has a lot of food stains. Those enzymes are going to help to break that up. This house, I wouldn't necessarily need it, but I use it. This is just my standby product. You can have 2 or 3 products in your range where you have one that's an enzyme and one that's not. So depending on which house you're going to clean, if it has a lot of issues with food stains or pets, then you can use the enzyme. If it doesn't, you can switch it out and use the other. Just do your research, find a good product. I've liked this product for years and years, so I've stuck with it for in excess of 20 years. I've been using the same product, so it works great. It's a powder. You mix it with the hotter the water, the better. Mix it up, shake that bottle a little bit, and you're ready to go for the pre-spray. So I'm going to mix that up right now, and then we'll go inside and start spraying it down. Now, just a little tip here. I use a HydroForce sprayer, an inline sprayer that hooks up to my water hose. If you have a pump-up sprayer, same deal. Just mix it up in the pump-up and go to town on your spraying. This here is just a tip for mixing. So I put the powder in here, hot water, as hot as I can get it, and then shake it up with this cap on. Oh, this is just a Scotchgard cap. So if you have a bottle of Scotchgard or a bottle that fits that, just put that on there and you can shake it up. You don't have to worry about it splattering out of the hole that's on here. Just putting this works much better. So just put that on there and go to town on your mixing. And then when you're ready, just put the cap on there and it's already mixed up. You don't have to worry about there being any powder that's left unmixed in there. And then you just go to town spraying it up. Now remember, the first step on any cleaning before you spray or bring any hoses in is to put on your corner guards. You want to protect your customers' furniture, walls, anything that they might have that you could damage by pulling the hose in. Make sure that you do this. Don't neglect this. If you do, you will absolutely hurt your customer's home. So let's start there. Alright, so we're going to start spraying now, and I keep my sprayer pressure at about 400 psi. It's the same as I do for cleaning. Pennsylvania, a really good spray pattern on there, really good amount of spray. Now if you're using a pump up, you'll have to spray a little slower. Make sure you get all the closet doors, open those doors up. Make sure, first of all, you ask your customer, make sure they're okay with you opening their closet doors. Get those edges really well. Now, yeah, the edges, the baseboards will be wet here. Not a big deal. You can get them wet. They're painted. They're not going to be harmed. If your customer is worried about them, just let them know. I'm going to wipe them down afterwards, and then do that. Now, typically, I'm not going to wipe them down. It's going to be fine, but if you tell them, hey, I'll go ahead and wipe them down, so you make sure you perform that for them. You don't want to say it and then not do it. So just spray all those areas you're going to be cleaning into the bedrooms that you're not cleaning. Spray a little bit. If there's a filtration soil line, make sure you hit it like that. Put some more cleaning product in there on the edges, doorways, things like that. You want to make sure that you put a little bit extra because it is going to need it. So bathrooms tend to get pretty dirty like that, so you want to make sure you get right on that edge. If the edge is here, make sure you do that. Now, if you're spraying this and it's a wood floor, make sure that you wipe off that wood floor if you did need spray on it. Just keep it dry. Wood floor is temperamental, so you don't want to damage the wood floor. Now on here where we have those areas with where the furniture was, make sure you just do this. Just give a really good coat right on that line, all the way around. Everywhere where you have that darkened area. You can even go sideways and let it really get in there. I'll show you another trick if you have some really stubborn ones. And then just keep on doing that. So I'm going to finish spraying here, and I'll be back for the next step. Another couple points on pre-spraying the carpet. If you have something like this where the blinds are here and you need to get back there, don't neglect, move each blind, get behind each one. And another thing is if they have like a nice piece of furniture like this and you're pre-spraying around those edges, this is not like the baseboards. You don't want to get this covered in pre-spray. So stay far enough away, get close, but stay far enough away from that outside edge. You don't want to get their fine furniture wet. If you do, make sure you wipe it down right away. Other than that, we're about ready to get started on the scrubbing portion, so I will be right back. Alright, so you've got two ways to go on scrubbing. Depending on the carpet, depending on how soiled it is, depending on warranty, all those are factors on scrubbing. So we can't power scrub everything. We'll have to hand scrub some carpets. So if the carpet is newer, warranty still intact, then you need to use the pile brush. So really the only way you can go on that. You can use a pile brush or a grooming wand. Either one is fine. And all we need to do is scrub it. Go over the whole carpet, not just one part, not just the dirty parts. Go over everything. This is going to do two things. It's going to drive the cleaning product that you sprayed on the carpet into the carpet, and it's going to provide agitation to help loosen the soils. So when you get to an area like this, make sure you're scrubbing a lot. You want to make sure that that cleaning product is contacting all the surfaces of the carpet fiber to make sure it's breaking loose the oils that are bonding those soils to the carpet fibers. So make sure you got those lines. Make sure that you're hitting those really good. Get all your edges. Edges aren't usually that important, but if you have a home that has a lot of filtration soil on those edges, you're going to have to do a little more scrubbing. Typically, if it's got filtration soil on an edge, a really good way is just use your foot and get really in there and just scrub it really well. The rubber isn't really going to distort the fibers. It's going to do a really good job of loosening that up. The other way we're going to scrub is with the power scrubber. So let me get that set up and I'll show you about that. Alright, so this is my power scrubber. It's an advanced 17-inch. The 17-inch I like because it can fit into most places, so under desks, in little cubbies. I do have a 20-inch as well, but it's much more unruly. It's not as easy to, first of all, get in and out of the van or store in the van, or to move around in smaller rooms. This room would be fine for the 20, but you get into a smaller room with a lot of furniture, and the 17 is really the way to go. Now remember, this is not to be used on carpet that is under warranty under any conditions. Do not do it. If the customer sees you and then they have a claim on their carpet, all they have to do is tell the inspector, yeah, I saw him using a power scrubber, a big scrubbing machine, and they just voided their warranty, and then you're buying them new carpets. So don't do that. So all we're going to do here is work it back and forth. Make it to an edge, just rest it there and run it down. This brush is not getting right onto the edge, so you can see there's a little bit of a gap there. You have to do that by hand, either with a hand brush or use your foot. But I usually run it right along that edge. As long as your scrubber doesn't have a metal edge on it, you'll be fine doing this. I've never left a mark with this scrubber. And then when you get in these areas where it's really dark, this makes short work of getting that dirt really loosened up. And even that line that was there is really starting to disappear. You can go over it a couple times. Now this carpet is way out of warranty, so it's not a big deal that I'm doing this. You also want to make sure that your brush is not too aggressive. A lot of the brushes, the cheaper ones, are pretty aggressive. You want to find a brush that's softer. If you can find a brush that is a blue brush, that is a really good one for a soft. It more or less massages the carpet. This brush is, I forget what company it's made by, but it's actually got an aluminum backing plate, super heavy duty. The brush lasts in excess of 10 years, where most other brushes will wear it down to where they're too aggressive. So as those bristles get shorter and shorter, it becomes too aggressive to use. You got to buy a new one. This one will not do that for, like I said, in excess of 10 years. So this is all there is to this. Is just it takes a learning curve to learn how to use this, but within a week you can be very proficient at using this. Like I'm running it with one hand right now, and I can do this, fairly easily. But just go through the whole carpet, and this is going to loosen up all that oil that's bonding those soils to the carpet. It's going to allow you to really, when you extract, get absolutely everything out. So this is, in my opinion, the most important step, and often the most neglected step. There are very, very few cleaners that will use this on every job that they can, or even a tenth of their jobs, or not even have it in their truck. So they may have a pile brush, and many don't even have that. Many just spray it down, and we call it their blow and go, or mist and vac. And they're just spraying it down with some cleaner, and then they're coming immediately with the hoses. And then the guys that really aren't doing anything are just coming straight in with the hoses. They're not even pre-spraying. So this is what you want it to look like when it's done. Yeah, I can still see that line a little bit. I'll probably go over there a little bit more just to loosen that up as much as I can. But you want it to look overall even. Those traffic lanes will tend to blend in and start to disappear with this step, and it really makes your job easier in the long run. I mean, it's only going to take me 15 minutes to go through this house with the scrubber, so don't neglect this step. And then if it's under warranty, you should be using that pile brush, and do as good a job as you can with that brush. Make sure that you're loosening up that soil, and you are making sure that it is ready to extract. So I'll catch up to you in a minute. One quick note: when you're setting up the house to clean, make sure you turn off the ceiling fans. Just a ceiling fan is enough to dry out the carpet after you sprayed it before you get a chance to clean it. So make sure you walk through it. When you're doing your walkthrough, make sure you turn all those off and let your customer know not to turn them back on. Let them know I'll turn them back on when I'm finishing up with each room. So then when you're extracting through each room, you can go and turn those on as you're exiting the room, as you're starting to clean that room. And that way then it expedites the dry times, but it doesn't go too quick to dry out your pre-spray. You don't ever want the pre-spray to dry out. And a note, if you get in a room and it's starting to kind of dry out, your feet are kind of, oh, that's a little dry, just quickly use your wand and overspray that area with some water, and that'll reactivate that pre-spray, but don't let it dry out. If you have a big house, spray it in sections. Just spray half the house, clean it, and spray the other half, and then clean that half. That way you don't risk drying out that pre-spray and having to re-pre-spray and re-clean everything. So just keep that in mind. Fans off, and then on when you start cleaning, and then don't let that pre-spray dry out. Real quick, I wanted to give you a couple tips for marketing today. One is when you are cleaning and you're next to tile, so you're gonna, as I pre-sprayed this area right here, some of that tile is going to get wet, so your grout there is going to have some pre-spray on it. And same thing over in that area there where I pre-sprayed next to the bathroom. So as you're cleaning, when you extract, make sure you overlap onto the tile a little bit. What will happen is these grout lines here, right towards that outside edge will get clean. And then as you're wrapping up the job, you can make sure you let them know, hey, by the way, when I was cleaning the carpet, some of my pre-spray got there, I got that area clean. I noticed that your tile could use a good cleaning. So that's kind of an easy way to introduce without being so salesy on a tile cleaning. So let them know, hey, I can do that, I can take care of that for you and get that tile all looking as clean as that is. Now this tile I cleaned last year, so it's not that dirty, but on a typical home you'll notice a clean dirty difference right there by the edge of that tile. Make sure you point it out. That way you're just opening yourself up to more work with that customer, and they're going to appreciate that you noticed and that you let them know. And another thing you may be asking yourself, how do you get so lucky that his customer moved all the furniture out of here and he just gave him a nice open area to clean? Well, that's all about sending them a prior letter, letting them know, hey, make sure these are the things that you can expect from our cleaning. By the way, move any kind of knickknacks, furniture that you can move out of the way. I'll be happy to move some of the bigger stuff if you can't get it out of the way. That way when you get there, a lot of times they've moved everything, because that letter told them, oh, well, I'll move some of this stuff. Then a lot of times they get carried away and move everything out, and just happens to be empty when you get there. Not only does it give you a nice area to clean, it also gives you more square footage that you're cleaning if you measure by the square foot. So that doing just a simple letter a week ahead of time helps greatly to alleviate some of the problems with furniture moving and knickknacks and breakables, cluttering up the area that you're going to be cleaning. So that letter is greatly helpful. It's been helpful to me to be sending that out, so that's something you might look into. Other than that, I'm going to get started extracting here, so I will be right back. All right, so I got the hoses routed and we're ready to start cleaning. And just a quick note, when you route the hoses through the house, you might want to start them next to the wall and keep them kind of out of this general area here, just because especially if you're running a truck mount that has a high heat, you don't want that area to dry out underneath the hose in a dirty area, because what will happen is that strip where that hose sets will dry out, and then once you get here you start cleaning and you realize, oh, that pre-spray dried out, it's become ineffective, and that spot is now needs to be pre-sprayed, needs to be re-scrubbed before it's going to come clean. It'll actually have a dirty streak in your clean carpet. So keep it over in the clean area as you route it through the house, and then make sure the corner guards are there always. If you don't have 10 corner guards to put on every corner in the house, have 3 or 4, and you can just move them around as you go through the house. And then I'm setting up in here, and you want to always work your way from the back of the house towards the front. So I'm going to start here, and then I'm going to work my way through into the living room, and then I'm going to finish in that hallway. So that's my method as to going through this house, and I'll kind of show you some clips of how I go about doing my cleaning as well. So this is a visual of that area where I told you go over a little bit. So as I'm spraying, I'm going over that area. Go into it. Now when you're cleaning an edge like this, you want to make sure that you're going forward on it. Don't pull back, because you have that tendency in this area to pull the carpet up and out of that gully, and then you've got to retouch it, and you're just adding more work to yourself. So don't do that. Always go forward. And now that, like I said, I cleaned that last year, so it's not really dirty. It's cleaned and sealed. But just go forward on it. Your extraction, and when you have it done and it's dirty time, you're going to have a clean area right on that edge of that tile, and it's going to be an easy sell to get them to add tile cleaning maybe next week or even the same day. So now this is an edge in here where there was a dark line. I'm going to go all the way in to the edge of that carpet. And if it's up against the wall, pick it up and you just spray that edge, because the front of your wand is a channel. There's no spray jet, so you miss that outside inch that's next to the wall. And if you're going this direction and there's a baseboard there, just pick it up and spray that edge, and then extract it along the wall like that. So then you get 100% of the carpet. Now that tip for this area that was really dark, I was going to let you know, if you cleaned it and it just doesn't give you the result you're looking for, take a little bit of if you're using a powder, just use a direct powder and just sprinkle a little bit of that powder just down on this area. You sprinkle it on there, give it a mist with your extraction wand, and groom it in a little bit with a brush. And what that's going to do, that it's a much higher pH, and it's going to really dissolve some of that ground in dirt in that area and allow you to extract it. And just give it a little dwell time in that area as you're cleaning the room, and then extract it really well, and it'll give you a really good result in that area. So that's just a tip on if it's really a difficult spot. Now you can do the same thing if you're using a liquid pre-spray. Mix it in a spray bottle at a higher concentration, and it'll give you the same result. Just spray it on there and brush it in, and it'll give you a really good result on the final cleaning. Now, to give you an idea of exactly how I do my cleaning, I do 2 passes wet. So just moderate speed. I don't go too fast or too slow. If it's dirtier, I'll go slower. If it's cleaner, I'll go faster. It just kind of depends on the particular carpet that I'm cleaning. So this is the first wet pass. So I'm on the trigger, and then I get off the trigger at the front and the back of the stroke. So you can hear the clicking as I'm letting off the pressure, the front and the back. And that's to avoid puddling in the back and the front, and that will, if it's sufficiently dirty carpet, it will actually create a cleaner spot than everything that's around it. Make it more difficult to just get a really final, consistent clean. It wants to be more streaked, and it's not a good situation. Make sure you take off the trigger at the front and the back. So this is my second wet pass. And just watch the carpet you're cleaning. If you see a dirty spot, slow down and hit it. There's nothing really super dirty here. And then I start my extraction pass. Now I do a double extraction, so I'm just doing 2. So 1, I count that as 1, count that as 2, on to the next. 1, 2, on to the next. 1, 2. And I try to overlap a little bit on the stroke so you're not missing any water that needs to be extracted. So I try to just, and you'll develop your own technique. You don't have to use this technique. Use whatever's comfortable with you. I have a friend of mine that uses a completely different technique, and then you'll meet somebody else that uses a different one. So as long as you're getting it clean and getting the water extracted, I don't care what technique you're using. Just clean it to the best of your ability. All right, I wanted to show you something up close here on this carpet. So as you look here real close up, you can see that there's rows. And if you just look, here's a row, here's a row, here's a row, here's a row. This can really confuse your customer, because what's going to happen is after this carpet's groomed, what's going to happen is they're going to look at this and they're going to say, well, why is that still dirty? So you've got to understand here, and I want you to look closely so you can explain this to your customer. Each time you have a row in here, there's a shadow being cast. So you got this real high peak here, and it's casting a shadow right there underneath. So every time you have a piece of carpet that has a row form, and we call this corn rowing, it's casting a shadow on the hole next to it, or the gully that's created next to it. And what that does is it creates a shadowed look overall. So you'll have a traffic pattern that has that shadowed look, and it's because it's an actual shadow. Every time there's a row, there's a shadow next to it. It makes it look darker, where if you have like this area over here has no rowing to it, because it's just more consistent, more flat, and it doesn't have the shadows that those other areas do. But you have that happen a lot of times in heavy traffic patterns, like right here, that's road. And when that light spills in from that outside door, it creates more and more of a shadow. So be careful and make sure that you explain that to your customers before you start these areas, and explain what it is and why there's a shadow there. So then when you're finished, they already understand that, oh, that's that shadow that he told me about before he started. It's just going to save you some time and some headache later when your customer says, why is this still dirty? Can this be cleaned more? And just explain, no, it's clean, but there's a shadow there. All right, we're almost done. This is the last step in any carpet job. Well, second to last step. It kind of goes together. We're going to groom it with the grooming brush, and then we're going to set it up to dry. So right now I'm already setting it up to dry. I got the fans going in all the rooms, and just turn up as high as you can. This one doesn't have an adjustment where I can reach. And then you just start by grooming. So you can sell it. All the areas are really good. Everything came out really well. Remember that what I told you about, that shadowing right there with the cornrows? That's what it looks like as a final. So it'll get a little bit better when you groom over it. Kind of blend that in a little bit, so you can kind of see it looks pretty good, but there's still a slight shadow. So your customer, as long as you've explained yourself properly, will know what that's from, and they're not going to push back that it needs to be cleaned again or anything like that. So that is clean. It is a shadowed area. Now, what all you need to do is groom. So that's very easy. I mean, you're just working your way back through the house with the grooming rake, and just going back and forth. And all this doing is setting the nap. It's erasing your tracks. Now, when you want to make sure that you do this when you're completely finished. You can back out of the house. You've been paid. You don't want to step on it and leave your tracks going across, and on the way out you want it perfectly pristine when you walk out of the house. So make sure this is the very last thing, or you can groom it all and then go in and get paid and all that, and then groom your way back out. So just make sure it's groomed and there's not a spot where they can point to, say, oh, I wish you wouldn't have walked across that. I just don't like to look at the footprints. So I've even had people tell me now that, oh, I don't groom because my customers like the triangles all over the carpet. Well, yeah, that's fine and good, but you need to set that nap. It does aid in drying. It aids in setting the nap. Is also going to keep things from setting that way. I've had several carpets that if I left triangles, the triangles would be there next year, because as it dries, it's like bedhead. It just gets stuck, and the fibers get stuck that way, and no amount of vacuuming is going to pull it out. So make sure you're doing your grooming at the end of each job. That way it doesn't give you any problems later down the road. So I'm going to groom this, and I'll be right back. We'll talk a little bit about pricing on this job. All right, there we go. Finished product. Customer is ready to move his furniture back in as soon as it's dry, and we are in good shape. So as long as you do all these steps, every time you clean, you'll end up with the same result every single time, and your customers will be able to rely on you doing the same work every time. So keep on cleaning and do it well. So I told you I would talk a little bit about price, and I do this because inevitably somebody's going to say, how much did you make on that job? Okay, so what I made on this job was $284. And that's 3 rooms, a living room, hallway, and a small sitting room. That is 485 square feet. I charge everything by the square foot. I don't charge by the room. Yes, it does make it difficult to estimate on the phone, but I don't do estimates on the phone. I only do in-person estimates. I get in the home, I can evaluate what they need, and I can give them an accurate estimate. And some of you are going to say, well, I don't want to have to go to every house. Can I just do it by the room? Of course you can do it by the room, but how much are you going to charge by the room? So if you charge I don't know, $40, $50, $60 a room, you're still not going to make what I'm making. You're going to make 150 bucks, 160 bucks. So I'm out earning you by over $100 by going in and measuring this large room versus the small hallway and the small side room. So I'm making more money. I'm charging by the square foot. So you could do it either way, but I doubt if you could charge $100 a room, because people are going to say, well, my bedroom, it's only 50 feet. Why am I charging $100 for it? I can't charge $100. So if you're going to charge by room, you're going to have to either boost your rate way up and it's going to be hard to sell, or you're going to have to just accept that you're not going to make as much as possible. So go in and measure the room all out, charge by the square foot, do in-person estimates. You'll land more jobs that way. You'll avoid price shoppers. They'll call, say, how much do you charge? Sorry, I charge by the square foot and I need to measure your home, and they'll just hang up. You won't have to deal with them. And the ones that you do get are going to appreciate that you're not charging them the same amount for their little bedroom as you are for their giant living room. So make sure that you're just going to have to decide, what do I want? What kind of clients do I want? Do I want to go the easy route and go by the room and just be able to shoot a price over the phone and just accept that I'm not going to make as much? Or do I want the really good clients that I go in and I groom them to be a lifelong client and constantly getting them year after year? Or I'm going to go ahead and groom the price shoppers. I'm going to go ahead and be the lowest price per room, and I can get 9 million jobs if I'm only going to do them one time. So it's just a decision you're going to have to make. I choose to go with the square foot. It makes me more money, and it looks better to the client because it's more fair. You're only charging them for the actual area that you're cleaning. Anyway, that's my the way I feel about pricing. If you have any questions, just put that in the comment section. I'd be happy to answer them. If you want to know more about carpet cleaner training, you could just go to carpetcleanertraining.com, and we'll see you there. Have a great day. One more thing on pricing. I know it's coming, so someone's going to say there's no way you can make that on every job. I assure you, you can. So if you ask for it and you get the right clients, they will pay it. Most people just want a job done well. So if you give that to them and they perceive that it's a valuable service that you're offering and that you're doing more than the last 10 cleaners they've had in their house, I assure you they will pay it. I've been doing this for over 20 years, and I've been charging these prices for probably 10 plus years. So I'm at 65 cents a foot. That is what I charged this gentleman at, and I gave him a senior discount and was still was over that $280, and he gave me a tip, which brought my total to $300. So don't be afraid to charge something because you think you can't get it. Do a superior job, and you can demand a superior price. So I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day. Sprayer. I'd like to get next to the wall really well, both sides. Make sure you open the closet doors and get that edge right there next to the closet. You don't want to miss those areas and then end up where you have a line, a dirty line right there, and you missed it. And your customer calls you and says, well, can you come back and do this? Well, yeah, I guess I can. I don't want to, but you're going to have to now. So, and just spray everywhere where you need to spray. On this one, with this.